Thank you for joining us for our first panel of the day. This is Building Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in Economic Development. My name is Ryan Gage. I'm the Public Affairs Director at the Department of Procurement, which is the agency hosting today's event. So if you have any questions about the run of show, you can let me know. But without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to today's moderator, which is Diane Primo, Chairman and CEO of Purpose.
First of all, thank you. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Perfect. Thank you, Ryan. And I've had the pleasure of working with Ryan before, and he is awesome. Having said that, I want to open up the panel and have the panelists actually introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Quinn. Quinn, please get your full name, a little bit about yourself, please. Sorry, here's your mic.
Oh, no, I have a mic. Hello.
Sorry, Ryan, you may want to announce that we're going to start if other people are interested in joining.
Yeah, I'm going to go do that right now.
Thank you. Okay. Quinn.
Hi, my name is Quentella, Enty Vice President at Bush Infotech Group, doing business as KFA. We are an IT infrastructure firm, over 30 years old. We specialize in IT for capital programs, so architects, engineers, construction managers, owner organizations like roads, rail, vertical and horizontal structures like hospitals and universities. We have managed over $86 billion in assets for the U.S. government and Canada. And most recently, over the past 5 years, we've been Illinois delegates to Kenya, Ethiopia, Kingston, Jamaica, and also Tanzania, bringing affordable, equitable solutions to contractors like yourself. And so in my former career, some of you, I've helped coach businesses here from all backgrounds. So I am pro-business for all businesses because we know that when you create jobs in all our communities, which bring economic empowerment. So I'm so honored and thankful that the city has invited me here today.
Marcus.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marcus Evans. I am the Director of Diversity and Community Engagement for UJAMAA Construction. I drive UJAMAA's commitment to workforce compliance, community engagement, diversity, equity, and inclusive practices within the actual organization and also on our construction projects. UJAMAA, we pride ourselves on having long-lasting impacts within the community and within our actual organization with our people that are black and brown. So I'm proud to be here this morning. Thank you.
Good morning. I would like to start by thanking our Commissioner, Aileen Velasquez, for the opportunity and for putting systems like this for small businesses to thrive and also for large businesses to showcase what they do. And my name is Edith Cruz. I am with Antigua Construction. I am 100% owner, CEO, president, and we are a small firm focused on prime contracting throughout the city, the state, and also government. And we have been in business, and of course we are MBE, WB, all of the DBEs, and we look forward to scaling.
Scaling was the message of the day so far.
It's the message of the day.
Thank you, Diane. Good morning. I am Javid Aboutorabi. I lead the business development and business diversity efforts for Clark Construction here in Chicago. Clark is a national general contractor based really across the country. We have our Midwest presence here in Chicago, and we span from coast to coast. I've been with Clark for 22 years now. Actually, August will be 22 years. And in this market, I have built my experience working with trade contractors, subcontractors, working with the community, and ultimately that's how I got to this role of both business development and diversity in making sure that we have a strategy to help small businesses be successful in this industry, in the construction market. We're going to talk a little bit today about just some of the things to help with what Mr. LaForce Baker talked about with scaling, with capacity, And these are some of the ways that we've been involved with small businesses in this subcontracting market to employ those strategies and to be able to be successful in finding opportunities, winning work, and then performing on that work. So looking forward to sharing some of that information with you.
Okay, great. So you might be asking yourself why a brand new public relations and digital content marketing CEO is actually moderating this panel. I think the reason we're moderating this panel is because we actually work in the CRE and AEC space and have worked on just about everything from construction to architecture to brokers to developers to owners. We've had worked every part stack of the mix, including Procore, one of our clients, from a digital standpoint. So having said that, let me now open this up with a question that I think the audience would love to hear your perspective on. Why does diversity matter in procurement? Let's start with you.
It's a very broad question, but obviously it's a very important one. And you know, I think back to when I first got into this industry, when I first took interest in construction management, all through high school, college, and then ultimately began my career. At that time, 20 plus years ago, there was always a talk about safety, and there was a talk about quality and cost and delivering on time. Well, what's missing from that? The piece that's missing is diversity and inclusion and equity. And now, obviously, it's taken some time for that to become a priority, just like safety is in construction, just like quality is in construction, just like cost is. You can't deliver a project successfully without any of those elements. And diversity has to be thought of at that same top level as any of those elements. So I think when you have that mentality, when you have that mindset as an organization, that will help to make sure that everybody is influenced and has that same commitment to express why that's important when you're going through procurement, when you're going through bid, when you're signing contracts, and then ultimately performing the work. So it starts with a mindset, it starts with that culture, establishing that culture as a pillar, just as you would with working in a safe environment, working to deliver a quality product, and doing it in a cost-efficient and schedule-efficient manner.
Do you have any structures in place or processes around that? Because it does start with culture, 100% agree, right? I'm sorry, I asked, is this working? No, it's not on.
Culture change.
It is on, okay. I asked if he had any processes or governance or structure around what he just talked about. Culture is really important, right? But execution and implementation are two different things. So could you just speak on that?
Yeah, just briefly, of course, it starts with leadership. And so you have to look at the leadership of a company. Is the leadership itself diverse? I mean, it's interesting because LaForce talked about how he got introduced to a company and it was the stereotypical person that he had seen in his experience. So to me, I think starting from that leadership, does the leadership of the company reflect the diversity that you are trying to achieve on your projects? Okay? So the second thing that I look at from a governance standpoint is you look at some of the goals and requirements that you have on projects, but do you have an overarching goal or overarching requirement that you set on all projects, regardless of if the client mandates it? And so we have that. So Clark has employed that, and I do believe.
Is it 100%, or where are you in terms of your number? Like in terms of your goal?
Our goal is every project, whether it's public or private, every project has a goal, regardless of whatever the mandate is. And I think that's something that many of our peers and other GCs are also adopting and recognizing the fact that it's not just a mandate by a public agency or an interested developer that needs to have that in place. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is, and I won't get into this too much because there is a whole set of processes for actual monitoring and tracking and compliance, and that gets then down to the project level, to the management level. But starting it from the leadership, setting that culture, And implementing something that is a practice that's required on all projects is, I think, the way to establish it.
That was a great answer. I think everyone would like that answer. Edith, tell us why diversity matters in procurement. I'm sorry, Edith, tell us why diversity matters in procurement.
So I'm going to start with a little exercise. Okay? So let's put everything down and relax, put everything aside, relaxed. And we're going to set our intentions, and we're going to close our eyes, put our palms, our hands on our thighs with facing up. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths. And then when we're going to release, we're going to release. And then I'll walk you through it. So let's begin. That's right, you got it. Okay, so when we breathe in, we are thankful and we're breathing in life, right? That's oxygen that fills our lungs. And we're grateful to be here today. And then we're going to release with a, just letting it go. All the noise of the morning, traffic, whatever obstacles were in the morning to get us here. So release, and then we're going to breathe again. And this time we're going to be grateful for perfect and complete health, mental, physical, and emotional health. And we're going to release all the stress and all the blockages that could be there. And lastly, we're going to take a 3rd breath, and that's just to be here today in hopes that we can get a piece of the puzzle answer for putting our businesses forward. Whatever your intentions are, that you're here, right now, it shows that you really do care about your intentions of the business. And we're going to release all the blockages, everything that sometimes are thrown in our paths, so that we do not move forward. It doesn't exist, it's not there. And now we can open our eyes and say, and I thank you. And the reason why I said that is because the oxygen, we all are breathing the same oxygen. We are all in the same room together, and we all release all that is blocking us. And if the source of energy that gives life gives the same oxygen, it didn't say that it's better on the left or on the right or on the back or in the front. It's all the same. And it's all necessity for survival, right? So equity and inclusion is that important. Across the board. It's not better on one end or the other. It's the same. If the source that gives life does not discriminate about who we are, where we are, and it gives the same source to everyone, then, equity and inclusion is equally important because the source of energy does not discriminate us.
Love that answer. Yeah.
And I just want to say that it's absolutely the most important. If every agency, everywhere, every company just values the beautiful shades of color, because that's what it is, right? Everything else is the same.
Thank you. Sorry. Marcus.
Yes.
You got to follow her.
Now you have to follow that.
Good, Marcus.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, please.
Oh, could you read the question?
Why does diversity matter in procurement? Why does it matter?
Oh, it's almost like what Edith just said. It's almost like breathing. It's essential in the development of our communities. It's essential in development of government. It's essential for the development in the private sector. If we don't have diversity, equity, and inclusion, then that means that there will be groups left out. And it's in a lot of my readings in dealing with diversity, it's just the right thing to do. We can just make it just that simple. Giving opportunities to individuals that are within our communities, giving opportunities to individuals that are in the actual, the office itself. Not just, and I know we look at this from a construction standpoint, but in a professional standpoint. I think Javid, we had talked about that yesterday on our call, making sure that we have professionals and the trade workers. That's our city. That's the city of Chicago. And I'm quite sure that us as firms and individuals that's in this space, we want to see that diverse and inclusive practices within our city itself, not just on our contract, but in the city ourselves, for the opportunity, so everyone can have that opportunity.
Thank you. Gwen?
In my previous career, I have served as a corporate buyer, supplier diversity for one of the top firms, Fortune 500s throughout the United States. And I was the spend lady. I had to count the diversity spend. And sitting there, I learned behind the IBMs, behind the AT&Ts, behind the great companies that we love were people that looked like us. We were the talent. We were the things that made the big engine run. And when you look at global businesses, the top brands, they have diverse customers, they have diverse staff, and people want to do business with them because they want to do business with them. So it's just good business. It makes sense. And any company that everyone looks alike or acts alike, they're going to be stuck. We're talking about scaling. They'll never scale. So we are in America, and everybody floods to America because we're diverse. We're a melting pot of ideas and talent, and that is why we're a great power, and we are the most industrious and created many amazing things. And we will continue to do that because of diversity and inclusion. And so I'm super excited and proud that we are in this country because we can still move it forward. And procurement, it's important. It's important for life, for breathing, but we're on a global planet where diverse people are the majority. So if businesses want to stay in business and organizations want to keep not becoming Sears or Toys R Us, they're going to have to do business with all of us.
So we've heard a lot from everybody on the panel. What really stuck with me is, hey, you want results, you got to be looking at diversity. You need to be thinking about community. It is bottom line. It is about equity. That's what I got from you, right? It's also about sort of equality of spirit, and that's the source, right? And what I got from you, Javid, was 100%. There is really no option. You can be doing 100% of the cases, right? And I love what all the panelists had to say. I'm going to go on for a bit, and I'm going to ask you the next question, because it always takes two to tango, right? It takes two to tango, and you really do want to have help along the way. We're all on a journey, and I've never seen anyone achieve something alone. So having said that, how important is mentorship as it relates to diversity and inclusive economic development? So I'm going to start with Marcus this time. Go around the room. Marcus.
Good question. Mentorship is important. I wouldn't be on this panel today if we didn't have mentorship. And when you look at it from a business standpoint, that mentorship, individuals that have been in our industry for 100 years, we've only been in existence for 21. We just able to start drinking right about now, 21 years. And we have firms that have been around for 100 years and 60 years. It's great to be able to bend their ear, be able to sit in the same rooms as them and be able to talk strategy. A lot of black and brown companies don't get that opportunity. And in order for you to be successful, you need that mentorship. You need to turn around and figure out what's the latest softwares and what accounting softwares do you use and how you handle the actual business side and the strategic side of planning. So mentorship has been very valuable. It's been very, very valuable for UJAMAA. It's been very valuable for myself because there are rooms that I couldn't have gotten in 20 years ago that I had that opportunity through mentorship, through the mentor-protege process. And they've helped us develop, those mentors have helped us develop. And it comes a time, to be honest with you, where the mentor becomes the protege. and at UJAMAA, we're going through that right now with Northwestern Hospital. Power's been one of our mentors over the years. And guess what? We won that project, and we are the leader. We are the protege. The bottom line is we're running the actual project itself, and that's what we all are looking for at the end of the day. We're looking for that mentorship and that opportunity, and that opportunity would then grow capacity.
Can I go next after him? Because I want to.
I'm just going to add to what Marcus said.
Yes.
I know a little bit about Power, right?
Yes.
Power worked with UJAMAA with intent.
Yes.
And their intent was to grow them where they could actually become a competitor. And when it switched, where they were the leader, they were joyful because that was the intent.
Yes.
And so compliments to you and compliments to them.
I wanted to add because Powers, I know them, I know UJAMAA. When I was at the Chicago Urban League Supplier Diversity Program Manager, when Powers had a job, UJAMAA was one of our clients. We helped staff it, so love that analogy. Has anyone ever heard of Rocky Balboa? Anyone ever saw a Rocky movie? Okay. Why do we love Rocky? Why does everybody like Rocky? Underdog. That's right. And when I see brown, black, all different diversities and small white male businesses, they're the underdogs. And we, as kids, I know I did, we cheered on Rocky. Now, who knows that Rocky didn't win in Rocky 1? Does anyone remember that? You know, I didn't realize till later he didn't win. But we got so involved with Rocky because he was hitting meat. He didn't have the tools. He just did not have everything, but he had the heart. And when I look at entrepreneurs and small businesses, we have the heart, we have the grit, and we deserve a shot, no matter who we are. And what I like about Rocky, it's like the Power story. If you know now, he went to what, Rocky 2, he won some, Rocky 3, he blew some, you know, Rocky 4, but he kept going. But now he is a mentor to Creed. Creed's father was his nemesis, became his friend, but he took this young black character under his wing and taught him everything. He's like a papa to him. But if you look at the movie globally, all Rockies won hearts in America and globally. A white male and a black man. And we can do that in business. This is a good example. But when you think of mentor-protege, we have to be open and see the same heart, like she talked about, we're human, and the same passion, and just giving someone different a chance. You may be blown away because let me tell you, AT&T is who they are because of worldwide technology. And if you look at Nike, Michael Jordan. So it's not wrong to try someone diverse.
I would like to add, and I'm going to get this on. I'm going to add one more to this. And so there's the other side to this, and that's us being a protege to other black and brown
That's
firms.
right.
So we're now able to develop and develop other companies to come right behind us and work on projects just as we were, and just like it happened for us in our initial stages. So yeah, that's important for us, for the mentorship process, in us being able to build capacity with firms that are below us. And I don't want to say below us, but other contracting firms that are black and brown, and us having that opportunity to develop them and give them advice and make sure they don't go down the same pitfalls that we probably did.
Right. And add to that, the most current Rocky, he mentored a person out of prison and helped him win the the championship. But we do that in business. During the pandemic, we created a solution called Phase. And it's $5 per user per month, and it's digitalized for any business. You can run your business on it. Some of the systems like eBuilder and Procore, multi-million. We make our bread and butter there, you know, with professional services. But when we went to Africa, we saw that they were trying to build, the contractor was trying to build a hospital with the WhatsApp. And my boss, who's a black entrepreneur, he was mortified. And he came back to the States to ask some of the bigger firms, would they go back with us and help these people because they're trying to build. They laughed. And this is a good story because later on you'll see what happened, but my boss put his own money, over $200,000 into an app to have it do everything that these awesome systems do that are multi-million, and was giving it to them for $3 in shillings. We went back, grown men and women wept. I got to quote them because they were just moved that one, we came back, but we didn't come back with a speech, we came back with a solution. And we made it phone first, offline mode, because they don't have bandwidth sometimes, and they use the phone for everything. We have spoke to Tanzanian engineers at their schools, because we want to give it to them for curriculum, so they can use it to just build. And they laughed, and they were wondering, why you're giving this away? I said, we make our monies in the States, but we want to be a good corporate citizen, because people made it, you know, special for us. But during the pandemic, I just want to add, when you talk about being inclusive, smaller businesses are using it, $5 in the States, but corporations now are buying it for 6 figures. We went to do something to give away, to be inclusive, and now we have a tool that can help anybody who needs a digital system to run their business on.
That's great. That's awesome. Let's give her a round of applause. Mentorship. Tell me about the importance of mentorship.
Well, I think that mentorship is, like they said, is very important. And unfortunately, sometimes as a small businesses, I don't know how it is, women-owned, you know, I have knocked at many doors, and no doors have opened for mentorship. But sometimes mentorship comes in different ways. Not necessarily a company, but it could be a good friend that has the experience that can advise you on things that you could, you know, hurdles that you might go through. It might be someone that, you know, you're taking a class and all of a sudden you ask questions with relationships that you have developed. And so it comes in a different form but you should not give up actually being able to seek for a mentorship, because they really do help you in a completely different, it's more geared towards growing your business. And all I can ask is for the UJAMAAs of the world and Clarks of the world to, you know, like open up for mentorship and
yes.
Not only, you know, brown and black, but also female companies that are out there, because it becomes a very minute opportunity when they see a woman. And all I want to encourage the women, on the other hand, that are presently in the room, that are business owners, to be the ones that are actually running your business. Don't be pushing papers in the office. You should be the ones on the field. If whatever your business concept is, whatever you are, mainly if you're in construction, learn the field, learn to guide the guys, learn to read the plans, really be able to be engaged in your day-to-day operations, and also be able to, construction is like 2 businesses, the office and then you have the field. Know what's going on in the office and be able to do the whole spectrum of your business, because, you know, if anything happens, they're going to come to you, not to anybody else. You're responsible. So as far as mentorship goes, you know, don't give up. Don't give up, Clark.
Don't give up.
So I'm going to look at this in a little bit of trying to look at it in a manner of capacity. And one of the issues that small businesses face is when you're an emerging business, as the principal, she or he has to wear a lot of hats, okay? You're the president of the company, you're the superintendent, you're the project manager, You're the business development person, you're running the books, you have to wear 6, 7, 8 different hats because you're running every component of the business. And to Edith's point, you've got the field, you actually have to perform. You have to perform the work that's happening on site, the skill set, the trade. But there's a business to run as well. And so we recognize that there's a need, really especially on the business side, because many of the individuals who are looking to create their own business or are 2 years established, 3 years established, or making that jump, looking to scale, they're great at their skill set. They're great at that trade work, could be drywall, could be concrete, whatever it may be. But the experience is not there, the depth of the resources are not there on the business side. So, one of the things that Clark actually recognized was, here's an opportunity for us to kind of share a little bit about how we, as a general contractor, manage subcontractors, manage the project, manage the overall process from the administration to the pre-construction to the bidding to the actual performance on site. And we put that all into an executive level training and mentoring program called the Strategic Partnership Program. Edith is one of my original graduates, actually 10 years ago. We launched the program 10 years ago, and Edith came through class number 1, and you went through class number 2, and she has now put several of her key colleagues in through the program, and in fact, I've talked with Jimmy and Marcus about getting that involved with many of the members of BCO, Black Contractors, Owners, and Executives. And so I'm actually, I don't know if you know this, but I'm coming next week to your monthly meeting to talk about it. But this program, it actually, and at the business-to-business matchmaking event, you can learn more about the details about it. But just to give you the overall summary, it's think of going to school for a semester. It is a training and mentoring program that starts in the fall and concludes in the spring and covers that whole cycle of, as a business, how do you start from just drafting that capability statement? Many of you may have it, many of you may not have it. Start with what is your capability, what is your mission, what is your vision for your company, and go full cycle all the way to how do you actually close out a project. You're down to the final month, the final weeks, and then you've successfully gotten to that point. How do you make sure that you made a good first impression, how do you make that lasting impression so that you don't fall short on punch list, you don't fall short on closeout, you don't fall short on finishing the job. And the other key thing that mentorship brings is actually how to bid a project. Small businesses don't have the experience that a large business may have in all of the bids that we've won and lost. You lose more than you win, unfortunately, but all the bids that you've won or lost, that you've pursued, or maybe you've decided that's not the best fit. Well, having a mentor to be able to help guide you through that process is very, very critical, because the last thing we want to see is a business owner say, I want to chase anything and everything. That's a quick way to failure, because you have to chase the best opportunities, because it's not free. It costs money to chase work. It costs time to chase work. And you have to understand what are those best opportunities to pursue that I've got the best chance of winning and the best chance of performing on.
I want to just get back with the program at Clark. So I've gone, if there is anything I can share with you, it's valuable to learn your trade, to learn your business, to learn everything that it's needed to grow your business. And education is one of them, right? You got to educate yourself, whatever is needed, whatever you need, and take programs. The city, the state, the county, they all have free programs, classes for you so that you can grow your business. And also, with the program at Clark, I decided to go twice, because the first time I'm like, okay, I want to see what this is all about. The second time I had a better idea, and I was able to actually absorb what it was really being taught. And they also provide a lot of information applications that you can use in your day-to-day operations in your business. But educate yourself around the business and learn. And learn, I can't stress that, learn your business so that you can be ready.
Can I add something? Javid, oh, I have.
So I want to add on to that in regards to mentorship. Sometimes in mentorship, you have to hear the word no.
Hear the word what?
No.
No, okay.
And the reason why is because there could be a $2 or $3 million package, and if you're not prepared for that package, you'll go under, and that'll be on our head. So when we're dealing with mentorship, we like to go through an onboarding process to see exactly where you're at, and giving those opportunities exactly where your company is at, and so you can grow from stage to stage. And I think as UJAMAA, we've gone through those growing pains, and I'm not talking about us, but giving opportunities that probably shouldn't have been given. But now we have a strategic plan, and when we give those opportunities out to make sure that a company is successful, they're just not working in 2023, but they're gonna also be working in 24 too. Because that's a lot of weight that's on us at the end of the day, giving an opportunity and setting someone up for failure. So in mentorship, sometimes you have to say no and come back with a plan to help develop that company.
I just want to add something quick. Javid, for years, he had a wonderful program at the Chicago Urban League. Amazing, the Clark program. And many of his graduates came upstairs to my class to learn, now that they know how to do it, how to grow their business and scale it with government contracts for corporate and government contracts for procurement. One of your students, Tabitha Miles, that year after she came, she was going to your program and mine, at the same time. We helped her win 13 contracts. Wow. In 1 year. It was not even a whole year. But now she's doing more commercial. But these programs that you talk about, a lot of these programs, we work together here in this beautiful city. We have so many good-hearted primes like Clark with programs that do want us to grow. We do have a great city of Chicago with free workshops and Chicago Urban League. I know you've heard that if you're a smaller business, take advantage of it because we all work together. If we can't help you, we would normally introduce you to people who will scale you. And in regards to being a woman in business, I've been a woman in business since, over 20 years. But I do want to say that KFA, the company, the KFA in Bush Infotech Group was founded by Christine Fallon. And she wrote the book of CAD principles. So when you see CAD, then 2D, 3D, she advised Revit that did movies in Hollywood. When you see buildings rendered, she advised them before they went forward. So a woman did that. And a lot of male businesses gave her a shot. When RVP became owner and president, Greg Bush Jr., he was there over 22 years. When he got his first prime for the company at Illinois Tollway, he diversified it 98%. White male, woman-owned business, veteran, and I'm proud to say every time I do our audit, we pay net 7 days of when we get our money. Because we understand as a small business, when we don't pay, people lose jobs or they go out of business. And so you're right, mentorship, giving opportunities to be a prime, but then giving back when you get there.
So I'm going to move on a little bit, right? I've summarized what I got out of this conversation. I'm sure people in the room got much, much more out of the conversation, right? Clearly, mentorship helps you get more business, but more important is that it helps you capacity build, right? It helps you understand how to get that next job, how to be ready for it, and how to create experiences within your organizations that prepare you in the right way. Let's go on, let's talk a little bit about government contracts. I think this is a really important discussion. Many people have said to me who are in your business, government contracts, I can make more off those than I can working in the private industry. Don't know if that's true, but I've heard that from an hourly standpoint. not sure. You guys can speak to that. The other thing I've heard is that they will give me a chance when I'm with a prime that I may not be able to get in the private sector. So government contracts are clearly very important to the people in the room. Talk a little bit about what's the most significant change that you've seen in government contracts that have worked in your industry or haven't worked in your industry. The most significant change. That's one conversation. Stay there for a bit. And then we'll go to the second one. What's the biggest challenge? Okay, let's just stay with the first question first. I think I'm going to start with Edith this time.
What is the importance of
The most significant change that you've seen
in government contracting? The most significant lately is that it's more open. It was close, it was very close when I first started. It was very selective, very inclusive to the few. And I can say that it has changed. It's changing. It's more open, more diverse. The opportunities are more balanced, which is great. And another thing is also, as a small business, I think that in the beginning, we're not ready to be unionized, right? But then you become union, and it's a completely different learning curve. But that arena is also opening up. It's also opening and changing, which is more approachable.
Okay. So I'm getting from Ryan that we're almost out of time. So
Okay.
quick. Just say it, okay? I'm going to move to you, David, next. Mostly Javid, sorry.
This is the point where I point to Ryan and I say kudos on a job well done for the Department of Procurement Services, because I can tell you 20 years ago, this didn't happen, right? Mm-hmm. So the openness, I'll say another term for that, transparency. Mm-hmm. When I speak to certain individuals who feel like they've got to keep their information close to the chest, that doesn't do any good. Mm-hmm. So to me, one of the things that I've noticed, the evolution of I'll just say public contracting, whether it be at the federal level, state level, municipal, local level, the most impactful thing that I've seen from my perspective as a large business is equally as important to inform the community at large of what's coming down the pipeline. Mm-hmm. Okay? So at 2:15 today, I'm stealing your thunder, Ryan, again. The State and Lake, the big CDOT project, big station that's going to be planned, that's been under design for years. I've been pushing the CDOT and the Department of Procurement Services to have an informational session, because as great as it is to have it published in the book, that it's going to come out third quarter, fourth quarter, whenever, it's great for people to know what the job is and understand it. What's the scale? What's the size? What's the unique features of the design? Yes, we can all look at a public press release, but that's just a one-page document. Let's understand more about what these major projects are. And DPS has done a great job. I can tell you CTA has done a great job. Department of Aviation has done a great job. The more and more agencies and public organizations that can continue to be more transparent and give information inform us before it actually gets published for bid, that helps all of us, whether you're large business, medium-sized business, small business, actually plan for it, dedicate the resources to know that, okay, 3 months from now, we've got a bid coming up. Can we pursue it? If we can't pursue it, fantastic, we've got a plan. If we decide the answer is no, well, then we've been informed enough about it to know that, yes, it's maybe not the best opportunity.
And not waste your time.
And not waste the time.
Yep. Marcus.
26.6, 7.5. And Javid knows this. When we walk into the war room and we're putting these bids together, because of procurement, because of government, those goals, those objectives are the first ones talked about. And it's a main staple in the construction industry. I think Javid talked about it earlier when everybody used to talk about safety and all of that. When we walk into the room, into the war room, as I call it, and we're putting these bids together, and that's just the floor. Now think about it. We're talking about the floor. A lot of us, we expand past the floor in order to be successful, in order to win these projects. So that's the importance of government in that guidance in giving us the 26, 6, 7.5. That's the importance of that, and that's the importance of government. That allows us to have that, larger outreach and giving capacity to those individuals that normally wouldn't because of those objectives.
We were at CTA for 17 years and they planned the green line, you know, the red line. So we are so excited this year. We were on the panel with them talking about it's happening. So that's one thing that has surprised me. But the other thing that UJAMAAs and Ardmore's and other women-owned businesses are getting contracts. That's great. But they're opening it up for construction and architects, engineering, more of color. You're seeing them on these big projects. But IT is still blocked. Our firm been around 30 years, 22 awards, and they will circumvent procurement for a big prime in IT, but won't throw out a competitive bid where we can compete with them head on. We would like the city and the state, all of them, to open it up like they did for the architects and engineers, construction managers, that they will open it up for IT because there's still a barrier. And to let you know, 3% W-2s in this whole country are black businesses. The SBA had 234 billion contracts given for minority. When they broke it down in black, it was 1%. And so I just want you to know, we need intentionality with procurement officers to open a door so we can all compete fairly.
So I'm gonna great job. Because I think your point is a great point, but this is an issue of professional services, right?
Yes.
It is, the statement I've heard this, we're not valued for our intellectual property.
That's right.
And IT is related to intellectual property. Right? We can build something, we can do this, we can do that, but when it comes to just using your head, no.
No.
Okay? So you need to hear that, procurement, because that is literally what she was saying. Okay, even though most of our panelists are construction-based.
Right, but we support them. We're the systems behind them, and we could do the work, not only as a sub. We've proven it as a prime, and during COVID, we pivoted the Illinois tollway home seamlessly. We won 17 awards at CTA and one for the tollway when we first became prime, and we diversified that contract. So we give back, we do it everything they say to do. We just want a chance. We just want an opportunity.
You just open the door for largest challenge, so I'm not going to come back to you.
Okay.
But I'm going to get each one of these folks for largest challenge. Marcus, quickly, fast.
Graduation out of the program.
Graduation.
And I'm going to just expound on this a little bit. You know, when you become successful as an MBE, WBE, and you get that success and you start seeing those annual funds come in, and now the city's looking back at you saying, oh, they're now successful, and now it's time to graduate them out of the program. So now what is the dollar cap now? It's been raised.
It's raised.
It just raised it. We got back in the program. But as when you graduate out of the program, it puts you. You want to know about the dollar cap? What is the dollar cap now? But how much? No, it's way beyond that. It's way beyond that. We would have graduated 20 years ago. But I think that needs to be looked at in totality, in a holistic way. Graduating the program, when you graduate out, that means I'm the competitor against the guys that have been around for 100 years, and they're doing almost $1 billion a year. So re-looking at the actual cap itself, I think it would be great for M&W.
Short, I would say payment. You know, the payment process, some agencies, I can say some agencies are really good about paying. Then there are other agencies that you know, if they want to work with small businesses depend, we need the money.
Cash flow.
You know, cash flow.
Cash flow.
And if their cash flow is going to be hostage for 6 months, that's, you know, an impediment right there.
So if you're a partner,
Yep.
your books, your cash flow can withstand a payment that may take 9 months, right? And if you're partnering with someone, understand that that smaller sub that you brought in probably cannot.
Exactly.
Okay? Regardless, the bigger message is for government that they need to make sure that their payment processes are such that a smaller player is not penalized.
That's right.
Got it? Okay. Marcus, I got your point too. Your point big time was just when I get to the point where I'm finally starting to become a company and I can really start to create change, I'm done. Okay? David. Javid. Sorry. You told me to pronounce it David. It's Javid. It's confusing.
That's the way to remember it. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
They said it, honestly, and I personally would think, I go to the capacity issue as far as when you're a certified M or a W or a D, whatever the designation is, you reach a certain point, and then now you have to make business decisions whether or not, well, I want to chase this project, but if I do, I'm going to be over the threshold and I lose that advantage, and then now I'm stuck in a much, much different pool of competition. The thing that I would add to that is also reciprocation, because we've also seen the process and the paperwork. Nobody likes paperwork, and unfortunately the process of getting certified from one agency to the other doesn't always equate. And that goes back to make there be some consistency between what one agency asks for versus what another agency asks for. Because if it's information that a small business is trying to put together, it takes time to do so, to get to a certification. And then why have to reinvent the wheel all over again to do it again for another group or another agency? So have some consistency and allow some reciprocation.
Okay. So the first thing I want to do is please give the panelists a round of applause. Now, I think we'll take questions from the audience.
Yeah, you were asking about the mid-sized business construction program. There's 2 tiers. So the first tier is between 3 and 10 million, I believe. I had it pulled up right here. So tier 1 is construction projects estimated cost between 10 and 20 million, and the tier 2 MBI program is between 3 and 10 million.
Any sense?
It depends
That's what I
on
saw.
it depends on which one, because they all have a different.
Threshold for certification.
I'm going to get that for you. Let's get with the questions, and I will.
Answer the question about the threshold. So the threshold varies depending on the next code that you are applying for. So it used to be set by the SBA, the Small Business Administration for Construction Services. Now it is 1.5 of the SBA limit. So you may reach the limit on one NICS code, then you could pursue a different NICS code that can allow you a higher limit. And then there is a set amount by the City of Chicago for professional services. It's 46 million, slightly over 46 million.
Okay. All right. Brian, can you just say your name too as you usually drive and come to work for?
Great. Hello, my name is Chris Huff, and I'm with D'Angelo's Change. So to me, first of all, thank you all so much for sharing your experience and expertise. It's like really helpful. I wanted to ask a question related to the issue of accessibility and the business sector and the private sector. I think oftentimes in these conversations, issues related to disability and making sure systems and structures are accessible and companies have the ability to invest in making their businesses accessible to people. What has been you all's experience in being able to make your businesses or your sectors or fields more accessible for your consumers? And to what degree do you think issues of race play into that? For example, in terms of psychological and emotional accessibility in terms of like when you're a black person rising through a white dominated field or industry. I don't think it just impacts your access to assets and funds, but it also may impact your access to like social supports as well. So I wanted you all to, at least one of you all to speak to that.
We offer full health benefits for our employees. We have mostly W-2s, so we make sure you have access to support when you need it. And for customers, we have technology, so people could speak and then words could type for them on the screen. So we consider accessibility for people with disability, but then if they have challenges, we financially help them with our programs, because along with the medical programs, there's support services that we offer. So anything our employees need, people work from home, we try to make it accommodating for them, and also with working with our clients.
Let me just add to that for a quick second. Accessibility right now is a huge issue. It is such an issue that it's become part of DEI and A right now, right? There's a huge movement afoot to make sure that buildings that are built that are more accessible, they're actually putting it into the specifications and requirements. Most companies now have even pieces out there around, is your website accessible? You were required to do that, and people are actively suing, especially the large companies that are not, right? So this is a movement afoot. It is growing. It is getting bigger. It has already started in their industries, and it will continue to grow because of the compliance that is a result of driving it. Sorry.
I'm Andrew Nelson. I aspire to be appointed Deputy Mayor of Chicago for Finance and Revenue Generation. My political mentor is Harold Washington protege Bill Doc Walls, himself a candidate for Mayor of Chicago many times. Project 2040 at the old U.S. Steel site at 85th and the lakefront. What is the process or the progress of that being made? Because I envisage doing business with Elon Musk at that particular site.
I'm not familiar with that
They
particular
want to talk
time.
to you, I think.
Yeah, offline, yeah, that would be a good question.
Ryan, do you know anything about that?
I do not. Also hearing about it for the first time.
Hi, my name is,
Okay.
Could we get that question as a follow-up question?
The only thing I would say is I would recommend, if honestly none of us are familiar with it, but reach out to the Alderman's office. That sounds like that's South Shore, which would probably be the 7th Ward, which would be Alderman Greg Mitchell.
I'm in the 7th Ward, and I think that actually covers the 10th Ward.
10th Ward, okay. Yeah, so I would recommend reaching out to the Alderman's office or Alderman's office.
hi, my name is TJ Hughes. I'm formerly with the City of Chicago. I worked under 3 mayors, Mayor Washington, Sawyer, and Daley. I worked in the procurement department, and I was working as an ombudsman for certification and compliance. That was almost over 30 years ago. And what I'm hearing today is the same thing that we heard 30 years ago. And right currently now, I'm working with Laverne Hall, who's working with Operation Push, and I'm working with Alderman Emma Miss with the equity compliance part for the city. And I'd just like to know, you Mr. Clark, representative, you have some great information. I mean, all of you have great information, but where were you 30 years ago? Because if you had been talking about this 30 years ago, we would have been, you know what I'm saying, people? I mean, when is it gonna be that women businesses, black businesses, brown businesses are gonna get their fair share in equity on these contracts? And you, sir, are the best thing that I've heard in a long time. This young lady right here.
It's a real program. It's legitimate. And what the Wind Trust, if you go see the Wind Trust right by that stadium, when they were building it, I remember the whole process. He's real, and he puts all kind of
Oh, I'm looking at
people
it, I can
on.
see he's real, and I
Yeah,
can feel his passion and his sincerity and your spirit of your heart.
Yes.
And I just want to help my people. Currently, I'm also working with black farmers to get them to have their products, healthy products for us all to eat in our stores like Mariano's and Jewel and blah, 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 blah. So my question was, I need all of your business cards before you leave off the stage. And that's not a question, it's a request.
So really quickly, before we get to the next question about, I want to address your point about hearing the same things over and over again, and folks in this room know that, but for better or worse, the city has realized that as well, because in 2021, the city conducted a disparity study, and to the surprise of no one, found that there is a wide-ranging problem with disparity in contracting across government sectors. So last year, what DPS did through authorization by City Council was we established the Office of Contracting Equity within DPS. And what that office is responsible for is not only administering and enhancing our MWBE program, but to give us that increased capacity to advocate for and conduct outreach and education and collaborate with the MWBE firms, and to make sure that we're securing partnerships and building relationships and creating better pathways to get access to those contracts. So yes, it has been something I'm sure that you've heard for a very long time, but I hope that if you have a chance today at 2 o'clock, the Office of Contracting Equity, which was just established last year, so and has been fully operationalized under Tammy Morgan and Gabriel Rodriguez, they will be giving an introduction to that office and what their strategic plan is going forward, because you're right, it has been the same story for a long time, but thankfully...
I was proud to steal the rock.
But thanks...
And I'm still in the same place.
But thankfully, the city now does, and DPS in particular, have an office dedicated specifically to contracting equity. So we hope that you'll be able to go and hear a little bit about that.
Good afternoon, everybody. Again, kudos to the symposium, a very rich conversation. My name is Nathan Page. I'm with William Everett Group. We're in the IT and consulting and the management consulting group, the professional services side. But there is something that triggered me and I thought may be applicable in this context, which is how much encouragement, or we've had some experiences over the years of not being able to partner with other brown and black companies to chase deals that we would be able to create a critical mass where we could actually do the work or do a significant piece of that broader work. How much do you guys encourage people to do that?
We do it.
Okay.
That's why I said we veterans, white males, women. If you got talent, we're open and we can connect again, because I think we spoke in the past before, but we partner. If anyone calls up or we call them, we just go after the work. And so yes, we would love to look at something with you, because we do that.
In the context of the DEI and how that's attacking DEI now, that's going to be something that we really need to look at, because the opportunities that we're getting under some of the diversity programs may or may not be here in the next few years.
Yeah, but we can still be intentional. Even though these laws and everything are happening, we innovate in this country. With the small businesses, the little machine, we're the underdogs. So we're going to do it differently. So I would like to talk with you, because we're open for business. Business is the best team, and we're open to that. And we pay on time, just to let you know. Yep, I count it. When we get paid, we try within 7 days. That's our goal, so yep.
The other piece of what I think you're asking is about the intersectionality of work. That's what I thought you were getting at, because she's in a business like your own, but you have construction people up here that do the design.
No, but we work with the construction companies. They're our client.
I get it.
Okay.
I understand. But in terms of them directly integrating you into jobs, could you maybe David, could you take that?
The one pointer I'll give is make sure whoever you want to partner with is aligned with the same culture, okay? Yes. The reality is, not every firm is as open and willing. It's just a reality, okay? And hopefully over time, that reality will continue to diminish. But at the end of the day, company A and company B is not always going to be the best fit, okay? So there's a level of due diligence that you want to do when we're trying to find partners, when people want to work with us. We may feel like we may not be the best partner for them, and we may want to, going back to mentorship, we may feel like, you know what, for this opportunity or for this particular scope or whatever it may be, we have a better recommendation. And it's okay to realize that and accept it. So just something to think about.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Belina Miller, and I'm an independent contractor that work with small businesses. My question, when you were talking about mentorship and working with the little underdogs, the ones who are just starting, how do I get my clients to get in one of your mentorship programs?
The Chicago Urban League, I'm be honest, when I was there, and they're still doing, called James Parker.
James Parker.
He has a heart, like we said, like a heart of gold. Mm-hmm. And then if they're in the trades downstairs, are you still there in the building there? Yes. So I'm just saying, within that building, there's magic. Because for the small business who just have an idea, they have a cohort. And then for the established business, when you graduate, they have a cohort. And then the workforce development team, they have the talent. Okay. So what I used to do, and they thought it was amazing, I'll pick from the smaller group after they got coached, we graduate you up, and then we'll bring in staff. Because once you grow, you need staff. And you get all of that at the Chicago Urban League, and it's affordable. But not only that, there's a lot of organizations in Chicago like that.
Okay.
I was going to add on to that. I didn't, and I'm not saying that about Urban League.
My question is to you, is that I have a small business that I'm working with and coaching with. They already got their minority certification. They've already done things with CHA and CTA, but they just need a big brother, a big sister. And so when I heard you talk about mentorship, how do I get my person connected to you all?
For professional services or for trades?
For trades, because they have an independent contractor. That's what they're doing. What UJAMAA started when UJAMAA was a baby. They're toddlers now, so they're ready to walk a little faster.
So the first thing I'm going to tell you is that you're probably going to have to get my card for them to call me and talk with me. And once we do that, I can turn around. We can turn around and talk with them and understand. We do take them through an onboarding process to see exactly where they're at. That's the important part of it. See where exactly the company's at the present time, and figure out how we can get them there. And then also to add on to that, we also, and I think it's important for a lot of our smaller companies to join some of the agencies throughout the city of Chicago. Urban League, BICO, U.S. Minority Contractors.
They're all out there, 77. If you hit that room.
Federation of Women Contractors. You know, all of these organizations are there to assist and help and build capacity for some of the smaller firms. And then it puts you in a realm of where everybody's thinking alike in those organizations. And just like Javid says, they're going to be out talking with BICO on next week. And Jimmy's the president of USMCA of BICO, and I'm the president of USMCA. Yeah. So we have a pulse on what the smaller contractors are really thinking and where to start them in regards to becoming a successful company.
And to add, Jimmy also let us come and speak. Not only does he let City of Chicago, like Jamie Reed CDA, and your corporation, Clark, a small firm like ours, get to come speak and talk about what we offer. But I definitely would say after they go through that program, if they don't match up at that time, these organizations have free technical assistant programs to get them to where they need to be, similar to what Javid offers. There's a lot of free programs. We are just so fortunate in Chicago because we all know each other and we will direct you to the right people so you can scale in your businesses as well.
Hi,
Good afternoon. My name is Adrienne Bruce, and I am with SD. Can you hear me? I'm over here. You're literally.
Okay, there she is.
First of all, I want to commend the panel. I think you are on point. I'm with a company that you're probably very familiar with, but you're not familiar with me because I've only been in this role for 6 weeks. But I led procurement initiatives, supplier diversity procurement initiatives for 5 Fortune 500 corporations before joining SDI Presence. And so when you're talking about for professional services, you know, we are a MBE headquartered in Chicago as well, IT service managed provider. But we too have mentoring opportunities, and we partner with other MBEs that are smaller. This is not something that I am starting because I'm new in my role, but I'm gonna be here for the remainder of the focus, and I just want to connect. I've looked all of you all up on LinkedIn because I didn't have your information. Thank you. I will be connecting with you because I'm actually new in my role. But I'm not new in this space. And I've only been in Chicago a year, but with another organization. But I think you're on point with what you're doing. And I think this whole community building, you also are doing some things that, and the moderator, you've been great. You didn't talk about the social impact, the S in ESG. And what you're doing is that flow down effect where, you know, you may be the prime, but you're bringing along other smaller MBEs. So just stay tuned. I'd like to connect with you.
Just really quickly for the audience, ESG, environmental, social, governance, right? It really is primarily for investors, but really it's moved into the domain of non-financial measurement associated with the impact a company will have. It is an indication of your long-term return, not necessarily short-term. What do you do to really be an excellent steward to your environment and community? Sorry, make sure everybody's on the same page, but yes, that is a wonderful point.
So we have time for about 2 more questions, but as always, I'm sure our esteemed panelists up here would be happy to make time for you afterward if you want to speak to them additionally. So we'll get through a couple more questions here. We'll get ready for the next panel, but if you need additional resources, please feel free to talk to our panelists afterward, or you can come see me and I can help connect you with some of the resources we discussed today.
Can I ask a question? Yeah. So most of these agencies in pursuit of promoting small businesses, they have come up with something called target market. And so when you win the bid in target market, do you come across issues where the insurance requirements are almost the same as for, you know, the bigger primes? Like it's too much of overhead. And now you're not guaranteed business, but still you have to meet those insurance requirements before your contract is finalized with a target market business. Do you come across those issues?
Can I add that? That's why we're talking about procurement needs to, because I know what you do. Hi, Sasha. And you're in the same boat. They have to write in these procurement and these bids considering when people are growing. First, you invest in us, you support us, but then you want to let us go, and we're still not ready to compete with a mega firm. And so there has to be a full consideration of not letting this great business that just created jobs and, you know, have this great company to let it fall. So that's a procurement decision to start writing those type of contracts to help you grow. In some contracts, like what you're talking about, you can let them know, I need mobility pay. For what you want me to do, I need this payment up front so that I can do it. Corporations do it. Government agencies do it. We have to make sure all of them are being inclusive to not penalize us for growth.
Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
My name is Dr. Elliott. Do that name sound familiar, Marcus?
Very much so.
Do that name sound familiar, Dave? Is there a gentleman by the name of Bob Clark?
Yeah.
Different company.
Oh, that was a different company. I thought you was the same. All right. But anyway, it's 2 quick things I want to mention. Number 1 is, I'm so tired of people talking about studying disparity. I think we need to study parity. I don't think we need to study why we broke. I think we need to study how we can. Is that true? Do that make sense? If I'm hungry, I don't need nobody to study why I'm hungry.
That's right.
I need to study.
Access.
Somebody please study how we gonna get fed.
That's right.
Is that true?
That's right.
The lights is out.
Yep.
I don't need nobody to study while my lights is out.
That's right.
Please, somebody study how we can get them on. So that's number one. Yeah, you know.
I got it.
Okay, because we got to quit looking at the ground and start looking up at the heavens. Because people with their head down, they ain't going to find nothing.
Doc, I like to interject on that. And with a company like UJAMAA, and we're not that large. People consider us to be large, but we're not that large. But I think over the past 2 years, we've done $45 to $40 million with diverse businesses. If you come to our office, you'll see a lot of people that looks like me. So I think that the more development and growth of businesses like ours will allow you to eat and not be a part of a study.
Right. I'm in total agreement with that. I remember when you guys first got that bill. Jimmy's number was in my pocket.
I'm gonna tell you gonna call them too.
You hear what I'm saying? I've always had the president's cell number, the mayor's, the governor. All their cell numbers is right in my pocket at all times. I remember a whole lot of you guys. I know I look a little bit younger, but I'm 66 now. And I've been in the movement since 66.
Wow.
Huh?
That's great.
Am I right? Now the next thing what I want to talk about is I really appreciate the program and the compliments everybody is giving towards you. But the next thing is how do we kind of rotate that spot? Because, and I don't mean no harm, like we had with the tollway would have all their meetings way out in the suburbs. And we had forced them to come to the city, right? CATS used to have all their meetings way up north. We said, hey, you know what? We on the south side is not getting that information. So if we can kind of rotate those classes.
I can answer that. I can answer that. So with Clark, when so we had 1 year, I think was here, the first year was here in Malcolm X.
The old Malcolm.
The old Malcolm X. And then we went to the Urban League on the south side.
Right? Yeah.
So, and then I think you did it a couple of years at the Urban League, and then, so they do it in different locations.
And free parking too, and accessible to public transit and everything. Yeah.
And we remained at the Urban League up until COVID, and we had to pivot, and so ultimately we still kept the classes going, did it virtually, and allowed everybody to participate in the comfort of home. And now that obviously we are ultimately back in a position, because let's just call it a spade a spade. Construction is an in-person industry. Okay?
Yes,
you can't build buildings behind computers.
That's true.
Okay? Maybe 2000.
We did build them during COVID, though. We did build them during COVID.
We now have adapted, of course, talking about adapting, we adapted the program for it to be a hybrid because there are some classes where you could take advantage of the benefit of, being remote and still learn the content without it diminishing the value. But something hands-on like reviewing drawings and specs, something hands-on with like doing estimating or scheduling and actually being there in person and communicating, a lot of value to that. So we actually, just last year, hosted our classes down at Dawson Tech at State.
That's right, yeah, Dawson.
So, and so we'll remain there, and then at some point, if we need to look to shift in another location, we'll do that. So, and one other thing to one of the earlier questions, as far as actually you, sir, talked about, we don't need to identify, we know what the challenges are. That's why we're hosting the classes, okay? That's why, because it's not just about me informing you, well, here's going to be a problem that you're going to face. Yes, we understand it. So here's a strategy, here are the tools on how you can overcome that. And the biggest one that my personal favorite that I think is most valuable is the capstone RFP. So our 8-month semester concludes with the final 6 weeks of actually responding to an RFP. So everything you learn up to that final month and a half, we actually help guide you through a real RFP, something that Clark actually responded to and won. And we kind of go back and show you how to do it. And there's always a winner at the end. And just like, we make an award and hopefully be able to take that information.
And then there is that final presentation.
The final presentation, how to actually communicate, how to sit up here and give a presentation. So those are some key things that we teach as part of SPP. So
it's a great program.
I'm glad you asked, man. Thank you for your comments earlier. TJ. So our application is open now for the September kickoff, and it's going to be the 10-year anniversary. So anybody in this coming class will have the honor and designation to be graduating from the 10-year anniversary.
That's awesome.
But our enrollment is going on now through August, so now is the time to register.
Online?
I'm sorry?
How do we register?
Come see me at the UTB, and I have all the information. See me at the expo.
I wanted to say, I'm at the Prime Connect, if you want to meet with Prime and tell me more about your business. But here in this building, September 14th, we're having a big tech summit. We're flying in different leaders in tech for building, AI, so ChatGPT, yes, AI, thank you. Microsoft will be here. We have, it's all things tech, streaming, just anything you could think of, but we're giving access to all businesses. So that's usually an affordability. We're giving away a software called Phase, I think I told you about, 60-day trial for free. You don't put a credit card to it or anything. And if you want to digitize your organization, it works on your phone, mobile device. So we're giving that to people who come out, but it'll be here at Malcolm X. We'll be sending that out as well.
So we are officially closed now. So please give these wonderful people a round of applause. Please come up and talk to these
If you guys actually don't mind, if you have some more questions for the panel, you're welcome to stay, but can we move it toward the back? Because I need to get the next panelist up toward the front, okay?